keep him on the sideline and not give him opportunity to play. Because people will be loud and very loud about the fact that they want to see him play. That is very evident. For the Cleveland Browns,
trying to manipulate what he said into some idea that he didn't want, or that they didn't want him. Like, I just don't understand how you can make that. I would love someone to logically explain it to me, because it just doesn't make any sense at all.
Speaking to the city of Cleveland as if to say, don't blame me for this one. That is the man that gave Deshaun Watson guaranteed $230 million, which right now is going down as arguably the worst trade in NFL history. I mean, the Herschel Walkers of the world with Dallas years ago and all of the Jimmy Johnson.
Major news breaking from Cleveland today. Jason Lloyd, a senior journalist with inside knowledge, has come out with some shocking accusations against the Cleveland hierarchy. According to Lloyd, Shedeurs Sanders is being actively sabotaged by the very people in charge of the franchise. The veteran journalist claims that the higher-ups in Cleveland are doing everything they can to push Sanders out, despite his potential and hard work. But that's not where it ends. Lloyd didn't hold back, calling out Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner, for attempting to manipulate the narrative. He slammed Haslam for making damaging public statements about not wanting a rookie like Sanders, something Lloyd says is just wrong for any NFL owner to do, especially one with so much influence.
I don't either. Like, what kind of long jump Carl Lewis leap are we making here? They traded up to wreck his career. That's how diabolical the Browns are. They traded up so that they could say, screw the Sanders family. We're going to show him. Yeah, we're going to run a ball into the ground. What he's very clearly saying for anybody with a lick of common sense is when
Jason Lloyd didn't stop there. He went on to accuse Cleveland ownership of selecting Shedeurs Sanders with the sole intention of destroying him. Lloyd questioned the logic behind the team's actions, asking, why would you trade for a player only to publicly tear him down like that? He argued that it's not just Shedeur they're hurting, but his entire family, who has invested so much in supporting his career. By undermining Sanders in the public eye, Lloyd believes Cleveland is not only damaging a promising rookie's future, but also disrespecting everything the Sanders family has sacrificed. For Lloyd, this isn't just a bad decision. It's a calculated attempt to break down someone who's worked tirelessly to earn his spot. Jason Lloyd made it clear that Cleveland didn't just sign Shedeurs Sanders to save his career. They brought him in because they had a clear need for him on their roster. According to Lloyd, there was a legitimate spot for Sanders to make an impact, but the ownership is now pretending they never needed him in the first place. This, he argues, is one of the worst things an NFL owner can do to their team. Create false narratives that damage a player's confidence and the team's overall chemistry. By downplaying the role Sanders could have played, Cleveland isn't just making a misstep with one player. They're sabotaging their own future by pretending they don't need the talent that's right in front of them.
And kept falling on Saturday, regardless of whose decision it was to move up to get him. As an organization, they made the decision to move up to get him, not because they're trying to tank this poor kid's career, because they have a job open.
Stephen A. Smith also chimed in, and he didn't hold back. The outspoken analyst was not going easy on Jimmy Haslam, making it clear that he believed the Browns owner was playing a dangerous game. Smith called out Haslam for his handling of the situation, emphasizing that it wasn't just about football, it was personal. He agreed with Jason Lloyd's assessment that this was a targeted move aimed at sending a message to Deion Sanders. They're coming after your son to get to you, Stephen A. stated, echoing the exact sentiment that this was all about a deeper, personal agenda. He also made it clear that there was no football reason for a quarterback as gifted as Shedeurs Sanders to fall to the 5th round. The only explanation, according to Smith, was that there were people in the league who made sure that would happen.
There was, to the best of my knowledge, and we talked about this yesterday with Andrew, there was nothing in any of their backgrounds that showed anything like this.
Have these incidents maybe changed your approach or maybe prompted more resources that you guys are looking into?
Well, I think whenever you're not successful, you got to take a step back and say, what?
Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back for a second as he tore into the situation surrounding Shedeurs Sanders. He exposed what he called a calculated smear campaign, a deliberate effort to shape a false narrative about Shedeur. According to Steven, the media worked overtime to distort the public perception, twisting his interviews, nitpicking his performances, and even questioning his character. All of it, Stephen A. claimed, was designed with one goal in mind: to drag Shedeurs down the draft board and create doubt about his abilities.
It wasn't some collusion that was going on. They didn't have to, because universally they felt, they watched the interviews, they saw the way Deion Sanders was speaking or whatever, and that's what broke his heart. I'm telling you what I know. It broke his heart because he knew there's no way that his son was going to fall to a fifth round if it wasn't for people that was taking.
Steven made it crystal clear. This wasn't just about passing on a player. This was about making sure Shedeurs never got the opportunity he earned. According to Steven, this wasn't just front office politics. It wasn't just bad scouting. This was intentional. Haslam and a select few others, Steven said, weren't just playing the draft game, they were manipulating it. Actively working behind the scenes to keep Shedeurs off the radar, to make sure he didn't get signed. This wasn't neglect, it was sabotage.
We understand what's going on here. That's why Haslam was in his car on a Friday talking about, I can't see it happening, because they weren't going to let it happen.
Louis Riddick also came in hot. He wasn't having any of it either. He dissected Haslam's comments and tore them apart piece by piece. Riddick made it abundantly clear. Shedeurs Sanders was not being given a fair shake, and he wasn't about to let this bogus narrative fly under the radar. He outright rejected the idea that Shedeurs was getting an equal opportunity, calling it exactly what it was: a blatant misrepresentation of reality, a cover story, a spin job. Riddick wasn't pulling any punches. Then he hit the room with something that made everybody pause, something everyone had completely missed. Riddick revealed that Shedeurs Sanders didn't even allow his own father, Deion, to come watch him at training camp. Why? Because of how poorly he was being treated. 4 reps a day, just 4. And with that, Riddick looked straight into the camera and asked the question that stopped everyone in their tracks. Is that fair?
One, he has to have opportunity.
He get
to
opportunity.
do that. Well,
He
okay.
get opportunity.
His own father said he didn't want him to come to training camp because he doesn't get any reps. Okay? His own father said he doesn't want me to come to training camp because he said, Dad, I'm getting maybe 3 or 4 reps of practice. A practice.
Riddick didn't stop there. He doubled down, bringing the point home even harder. He explained that a quarterback's growth isn't just measured by his performance in games, but by the time he spends building rapport with his teammates, especially the offensive line, receivers, and coaches. Without those critical practice reps and the opportunity to run the offense consistently in practice, Shedeurs Sanders wasn't getting the chance to truly develop. Riddick pointed out that the NFL is unforgiving, and a player like Shedeurs needs every possible minute to adjust to the speed and complexity of the game. Yet, the team was essentially stalling his development by keeping him on the sidelines, giving him limited time to actually work on his craft.
Play in the preseason, he is, but he's not getting the reps in practice. So what really is happening is he's going to have to be like spectacular in the preseason games, okay? Because he's not getting the reps right now to practice the things he's going to do in the preseason games.
And Louis Riddick wasn't pulling any punches. He kept it real, reminding everyone of a hard truth in the NFL. When you're drafted as low as Shedeurs Sanders was, you don't get chances handed to you. You only make it if someone in the building is willing to fight for you. Someone standing on the table saying, this kid belongs here. But that's exactly what had Riddick's frustration boiling over. Because right now, nobody even knows who in the organization pushed for Shedeurs in the first place. Who stuck their neck out? Who believed in him enough to bring his name up in that war room or front office? That kind of uncertainty? That lack of backing? In Riddick's eyes, it put Shedeurs at an even greater disadvantage. He pointed out that without a strong advocate in the building, Shedeurs was being set up to fail from the start. In this league, if no one's fighting for you, you get left behind. Period. Riddick made it clear. If there's no one pushing for your success, if there's no one willing to make sure you get the reps and opportunities, you're doomed to be just another name lost in the shuffle. And right now, that was Shedeurs Sanders' reality.
And here's the other thing, number 2. You have to have people who advocate for you when you are a lower round draft pick. We don't know who's advocating for him within the organization because we don't know who stood up for him and who really wanted to draft him. So I can tell you this right now.
Then Riddick dropped a harsh truth, one that cut through all the noise. He said it plainly, the NFL is not a pure meritocracy. That's just the reality. Talent alone, it's not always enough. Riddick admitted he's seen it with his own eyes. Players who were clearly better, more skilled, more prepared, and more deserving, completely ignored. Not because they couldn't play, not because they didn't belong, but because the coaches didn't want them. Because they weren't their guys. No personal connection, no political backing, just left on the outside looking in. He didn't sugarcoat it. In the NFL, Riddick explained, the system isn't just about what you can do on the field. It's about who you know, who's pulling the strings behind the scenes, and whether you've got the right people in your corner. Without that network, no matter how good you are, you're at risk of getting overlooked or shoved aside. And for Shedeurs Sanders, Riddick made it clear. That's the brutal reality he's facing right now.
Don't tell me that the NFL is it's just a meritocracy and the best players play. BS, it's not the case. Okay, I've seen players, I've been in personnel meetings where people are getting killed who coaches just don't want. And they may be better than the people who are playing ahead of them. I've seen it happen.
In the end, what's happening to Shedeurs Sanders is more than just a football issue. It's a story about opportunity, fairness, and the harsh truths of the NFL. As Jason Lloyd, Stephen A. Smith, and Louis Riddick have all pointed out, Sanders is facing a stacked deck, one where talent alone isn't enough to guarantee success. He's fighting against not just competition on the field, but the politics, the power plays, and the lack of real support within the organization. From limited reps to a lack of backing from anyone in the building, Shedeurs' journey has been anything but fair. And as Riddick so powerfully highlighted, when you're left without advocates, when no one's fighting for you, the road to success becomes nearly impossible to travel. But here's the thing. Shedeurs Sanders is still a highly skilled, promising quarterback. His potential hasn't disappeared, and if he gets the right opportunity, real opportunities with the right people behind him, he can rise above the odds stacked against him. Whether that happens in Cleveland or somewhere else remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure. The system needs to change, and players like Shedeurs deserve better. The question now is, will Cleveland recognize that? Or will they let a promising young talent slip away, just because the system wasn't set up to give him a fair shot? Only time will tell, but this story is far from over. So, what do you think? Is Shedeurs Sanders truly being sabotaged, or is this just a case of a rookie trying to earn his place in a tough league? Do you believe Cleveland's hierarchy is to blame, or is there more to the story that we're not seeing? How much does an NFL player really need personal backing to succeed? And does Shedeurs' situation expose deeper flaws in the system? And most importantly, should he be getting more opportunities to prove himself, or is this all part of the process? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss.